Hi, my name is Arjura, and today I'm going to be talking about anxiety disorder. Have you ever been nervous before a presentation? I certainly have been, and to be honest, I'm a little nervous right now too. And it is likely that most of us would answer yes. And it is very normal to feel anxious or nervous before a presentation or any other new things. Unfortunately, many people will associate this feeling of anxiety with having an anxiety disorder, and they belittle people's experience with anxiety disorder, and they frame them as cowards or just people who are weak. They think that way. However, it is not fair because anxiety disorder and feeling anxious for a few minutes are very different things. Anxiety disorder is excessive, it affects people for a longer time, it has different factors and causes, and it has links with other mental illnesses, and it has different treatments. And I chose this topic because I think we are going through a very tough time, and I want to spread more awareness of this anxiety disorder, especially when our mental health is declining or is at risk. And moving on, I think firstly, anxiety disorder is very different from occasional feeling of anxiety, as it can be very invasive and it can interrupt people's daily routine. According to Mayo Clinic, anxiety disorder leads to episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety and fear which can occur within minutes. These episodes are also known as panic attacks. And these panic attacks can lead people to avoid certain things or doing certain activities because they are too nervous, or they get panic attacks, and panic attacks are usually characterized with heavy sweating, heavy fear, intense extreme fear, heavy shaking, sweating, having nightmares, and just things you don't want to experience. And meanwhile, on the other hand, when we feel nervous and we're faced with new things, we challenge it, we face it, and we get over it. And during that time, our nervousness ends with the event. However, it is not the same with anxiety disorder. Anxiety disorder is very different than feeling anxious because feeling anxious is temporary and normal. However, anxiety disorder causes extreme fear and disrupts people's daily life. And moving on, I'm going to talk about different causes and factors. Say this anxiety disorder is different from being anxious because anxiety disorder has many different causes and risk factors than just feeling nervous. According to WebMD, genetics, substance use, chemical imbalance in the brain, stress, and some medical conditions related to the lung, heart, and thyroid can cause anxiety disorder. Additionally, experiencing abuse as a child, experiencing trauma, having a low self esteem, experiencing negative things in life, having a shy personality, etc., can also increase your chances of developing um, anxiety disorder. As you can see clearly, anxiety disorder is not the same thing, or is not triggered by new minutes, and I mean new events, and it does not last for a few minutes. It's built up through several emotional, physical, and past experiences. It's a combination of all those, and they all combine and cause people to have anxiety disorder. Yeah. And moving on, I'm going to talk about different treatments and different links, how it is linked with other mental illnesses. Let's see, anxiety disorder is very critical and it can be linked with to other mental illnesses. However, it is not hopeless. There's still many treatments in this modern day. In the article, Anxiety Disorders, um, Factors and Statistics by the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, ADAA, it is stated that nearly half of people who are diagnosed with depression are also diagnosed with anxiety disorder, OCD, and PTSD. Since anxiety disorder is linked with many other mental illnesses, it is important to treat this condition because all these mental illnesses can combine, overlap, and accelerate the decline of mental health. It can even cause people to gravitate to substance use, which can eventually lead to self harm or even death by suicide. So it is very important to treat this mental illness. And treatments like therapy, medication, complementary, and alternative treatments can help, and even lifestyle changes like eating healthy, having a support group, and exercising can reduce the symptoms of anxiety disorder. So again, many people misunderstand anxiety disorder and the feeling of anxiety as the same thing. This leads to the stigma of people with anxiety disorder as just being too scared and statements like, just get over it. But it's easier said than done. However, anxiety disorder is more than feeling anxious for a few minutes or temporarily. It is a mental disorder that leads to excessive fear and anxiety, which can disrupt a person's daily life. Anxiety disorder is more than emotion. It is caused by many psychophysiological conditions and past experiences, and it has many risk factors. And lastly, an anxiety disorder can combine with other mental illnesses, which can drastically affect a person's mental health. So, it is very critical to treat this mental illness. And it is, especially during these hard times, we should all be empathetic and we should be more understanding, especially we have more time to educate ourselves, and during this time it was not easy, and many people would have, I think many people may have developed this mental illness or mental condition. And if you feel like you can relate to this PowerPoint or to speech or to these symptoms, I think you should seek professional help, and we should all be empathetic. Thank you.